Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to Accelerated Health with Sara Banta. I'm a busy wife, mom of 3, and an NANP certified supplement professional, but that's not all. I'm also the founder of the multi-award winning Accelerated Health Products, a brand offering innovative, natural, scalar-enhanced supplements to optimize your health. And this podcast isn't just a source of information, it's a community. We're all here to learn and grow on our health journeys, regardless of where you are today. And this podcast is the springboard to learning, and the free group coaching on Telegram is where we continue learning together. You can ask your questions. I post tips and tools to deepen your health and keep you moving forward every single day. So here's what you can expect. New episodes every Monday and Wednesday with in-depth health discussions and expert guests, hot topics that are in the news every Friday to keep things fun, and a free health group coaching on Telegram. That's where we join and continue the conversation. The details are on my website at SaraBantaHealth.com. Have you thought about detoxing, but you're a little worried if it's too much, or you're worried about the detox flu symptoms? Well, I've created over 10 unique, easy detox cleanse programs to help reset your body while feeling great without the detox symptoms. If you are looking just to get pooping with the colon cleanse or the parasite cleanse or the candida cleanse or the liver flush cleanse that I talk about so much, or the big one, the accelerated diet cleanse that resets everything, you can have your choice, and you can take the detox quiz at SaraBantaHealth.com to find out which one is right for you. And maybe you're not ready for a detox, but you want to start with a few supplements and don't know where to start. Just complete my health goals form for your free supplement protocol on the website. I will personally put together a protocol just for you. So just by taking a few steps forward with your health, you will change your life. I am here to help you every step of the way. Today, we are talking about ADHD, something that is affecting our young kids, something that is affecting you, or maybe your loved ones that are adults. Our brains are hijacked, right? And in the US, about 1 in 9 children between the ages of 3 and 17, or 7.1 million, have been diagnosed with ADHD. Those are the ones that have been diagnosed. Out of these, more than half have moderate to severe cases, yet surprisingly 30% hadn't received any treatment at all. Now, like I said, so many of you are suffering with that brain fog, or that just feeling of like, oh, where's my brain? I can't find my car. I can't focus on the paragraph I just read. What is it? And you haven't even gotten a diagnosis yet. So the numbers are so much bigger. The data from the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention shows that in 2022, around 1 million more children had received an ADHD diagnosis compared to 2016. That is huge. So my part of it could be attributed to better awareness, diagnosis, and even pandemic-related stress. But there's a growing concern that the toxic exposures, the food supply, all of that is increasing the numbers. And in my own family, my daughter, in first, second grade, she was reading, and we would try to get her comprehension up. She was failing these tests. And we're like, what's going on? She goes, Mom, I just read it over and over again, and I don't understand what I'm reading. And it just broke my heart, because my 2 other children, no problems. They were stellar readers at the young age. But guess what? Guess which child now has no problem learning and focusing better than all of them? And it's because of diet, detox, supplements, and learning how to learn. So there's all of these other things. No medications. And I'm not saying that medication isn't needed for some cases, but there's some answers out there away from the medication. So ADHD is more than just a difficulty with focus. It can impact your academic success, job performance, relationships, daily functioning. A lot of kids will go from their ADHD medication and then they think, oh, well, I'm no longer a kid in my 20s and I should get off my medication. But guess what looks just like it? It's the cocaine and the harder drugs, the street drugs. So it sets people up for these drugs habits that we didn't, no one's thinking about, right? So there's this bigger factor when we're talking about ADHD. Physical health risks. People with ADHD are more likely to develop addictions to substances like nicotine, alcohol, and cocaine. They also have higher rates of obesity, binge eating, self-harm, even suicide. You're wondering what's wrong with you, right? There's been research that highlight that deeply ADHD can impact a person's life, ranging from mental health vulnerabilities to physical health issues like sleep problems, oral health, and injuries. So it's serious. It's not just about, oh, I can't focus. Interestingly, a chemical intolerance in parents has been linked to a higher likelihood of having children with ADHD or autism. So parents who are more sensitive to things like mold or chemicals, pesticides, certain foods are 2.1 times more likely to have a child with ADHD. Now, this is exacerbated by the fact that we have more chemicals, more pesticides, more processed foods than ever before. So the rising rates could be tied to these toxins from fossil fuels and other sources. And then on top of that, you've got insecticides during pregnancy or early childhood that have also been linked to behavioral issues and developmental delays. Studies found that children with higher levels of metabolites from these insecticides in their systems were twice as likely to have ADHD compared to those with lower exposure. That is huge. So as these cases are on the rise, we need to look at not just the diagnosis and the drugs, but what else is going in. What is our diet besides the food? And we're going to get into that in a minute. But the environmental factors, the chemical exposures, the microplastics, the GMOs, the glyphosate, the artificial ingredients in our foods, all of those things. And then you add them on top of each other. It's a time bomb, right? And we're not just talking about ADHD. We're talking about chronic disease in general has skyrocketed. So what is it? ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's a condition that affects both kids and adults, makes it harder to focus, control impulses, manage behavior. Even though it's one of the most common neurodevelopmental disorders, there's still a lot of confusion, and there's a wide range of symptoms, right? There are three categories: inattentive, hyperactive, impulsive, and combined. So you can have both or just one. And the severity of the symptoms can vary. So the inattentive symptoms, difficulty sustaining that attention. So you can't focus on a task, and especially when it's requiring sustained mental effort. You make careless mistakes. You overlook details. You rush through the work. You are taking a test and you get a C instead of an A, but it's stupid mistakes. You're not organized, right? Losing important items like your keys, your wallets, documents, poor time management, underestimating how long tasks will take, or being late or failing to meet deadlines, difficulty following through. People with ADHD begin multiple projects but struggle to finish any of them. Forgetfulness in daily activities, avoiding tasks that require sustained focus. And some of you might be thinking, oh, that sounds a lot like me. And maybe you don't have ADHD. You just aren't focused and you're not choosing to prioritize certain things. So that's also something to consider. But then you've got the hyperactive impulsive symptoms, the fidgeting, the squirming. You feel restless, even in situations where it's important to remain still. How many of the kids in the classroom can't sit still? Now, a lot of that is blood sugar related and diet related. So we're going to talk about that. But it's not that it's the kid's problem. It's not that they're trying to be, not listening to their teacher and behaving in a bad way. It's also the inability to stay seated. So especially for children, excessive talking too much, often without noticing that they're dominating a conversation. We all know those people, right? Interrupting each other or other people, blurting out responses before someone finishes speaking. Just an impatience, waiting in line, sitting through long meetings. Oh my goodness, I've got family members that they literally cannot finish a conversation and they're so impatient. And it is very frustrating for the other people. So if you have ADHD and some of these symptoms are sounding familiar, or if you've got a loved one where these symptoms are sounding familiar, you want to address it, not just for their issues, but for their loved ones, the people that have to deal with them, right? Difficulty playing or engaging quietly, just in leisure activities. You might need to have that excess intensity instead of relaxing when it's appropriate. And just acting without thinking, being very impulsive. Okay, so the combined symptoms of ADHD include the mix of both inattentive and the hyperactive impulsive symptoms. And so difficulty focusing, restlessness, impulsive behaviors, making it hard to pinpoint one specific area of difficulty. So with those additional symptoms, you also might have that emotional dysregulation. Many people with ADHD struggle to manage their emotions. They may feel intense frustration, anger, excitement, have trouble calming down, emotional outbursts or mood swings. All of that is common. Low self-esteem. Well, of course, you are feeling very self-conscious because you are aware that you're acting a little out of the norm, that you're not able to focus, and you might be creating issues socially. So this can lead to feelings of inadequacy, shame, low self-worth, difficulty with your relationships. Like I mentioned, this behavior affects your relationships. That impulsivity may lead to misunderstandings, while forgetfulness and disorganization can create frustrations, or you're late all the time. I'm sorry, but when I have someone that shows up late to a meeting, they're telling me that their time is more important than me. But for someone with ADHD, it might not be something they're doing on purpose. So it does affect the relationships. Poor listening skills. They have trouble following a conversation. You lose them. They fall off a cliff as you're talking to them. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is so frustrating. It is so frustrating to the other person because they're thinking, how do I keep this person's attention? Do I talk quicker? I need to make it more fun. What am I doing to lose this person's attention? It is very frustrating for the other person, and it's frustrating for the person with ADHD. Hyper-focused. So while ADHD is characterized by inattention, people with ADHD can also experience periods of intense focus known as that hyper-focus, and they can become absorbed in an activity like gaming, or their phone, right? So it's a double-edged sword. And sleep problems. Who else needs another reason for sleep problems? But insomnia, trouble falling asleep, poor sleep quality are common in people with ADHD. So that is also going to make their ADHD even worse the next day, right? Because even when I have sleep issues, I have a hard time focusing the next day, and I don't have ADHD. Risk-taking behavior. Because they are impulsive, that can lead to engaging in risky or dangerous activities. And this might create social issues as well, financial decisions that are not so smart. Now, can you have ADHD at all ages? Absolutely. In children, it's very visible because usually teachers are looking for it, right? They have trouble sitting in class, they act impulsively, talk excessively, they have a hard time following instructions, staying focused. The teenagers, They will have issues with attention, organization, impulsivity again, but they might struggle with their time management, completing schoolwork, social relationships. And adults, they have issues, difficulty managing their responsibilities, maintaining their job, keeping up with the household tasks, balancing their relationships, being late, like we've talked about. So let's talk about what causes it. Diet causes it. Diet, not just from your food, but from your environment, from your air, from your water, everything. When I talk about diet. Now, number one, iodine deficiency. And you hear me talk a lot about it. It's the cause of unexplained weight gain, of brain fog, of just a lack of energy, thyroid issues, but it's also the number one cause of depression and mental issues, including ADHD. Iodine is essential for proper thyroid function and brain development. When the body lacks iodine, it can lead to an underactive thyroid, which affects cognitive function, attention, mood, all things that impact ADHD. And studies have shown that low iodine levels during pregnancy, you pregnant women, listen up here, and early childhood may increase the risk of ADHD. And this is really important. Iodine deficiency also has been linked to low IQ in children. When you are growing, when you are a fetus in that tummy, you are needing more iodine than ever. And when you're a teenager, those 2 periods of time, the body's going through more apoptosis than any other time in your life. Apoptosis requires iodine. Apoptosis is the turnover of the cells in the body, right? Okay, so second is poor thyroid health, which is linked to the iodine. But ADHD, like symptoms, are connected to thyroid health because thyroid hormones play a critical role in brain development, mood, and cognitive function. If the thyroid is not functioning properly, either due to hypothyroidism or hyper, whether it's underactive thyroid or overactive thyroid, it can lead to symptoms that mimic ADHD, such as difficulty functioning or focusing, forgetfulness, mood swings. The thyroid imbalances affect neurotransmitter activities in the brain, particularly dopamine and serotonin, which are crucial for mood and attention. And this means that if someone is underdiagnosed or undiagnosed with thyroid issues, their ADHD symptoms could actually be a result of that hormonal imbalance. So they're being treated and put on an ADHD medication, not dealing with the underlying cause. And so it's going to mask the cause, and then there's going to be side effects from medication, might not even help the issue at hand, and cause more health issues because thyroid issues affect your sex hormones, your adrenals, your heart health, and so much more. The thyroid gland, located right here in your neck, produces the hormones that regulate your body's metabolism. And that's not just about weight. Yes, it is about weight, but it's also about the metabolism in your brain, in your heart, your energy, all of it. When the thyroid isn't functioning, it can cause difficulty focusing, the mood swings, even forgetfulness, brain fog. If it's underactive, you might feel fatigued, sluggish, having trouble concentrating, all of which can look like ADHD. But on the flip side, if your thyroid's overactive, it might make you restless, anxious, impulsive. So that is also something to think about. Thyroid hormones play a key role in the brain development and cognitive function. Those hormones, especially T3 and T4, which stand for tyrosine and 3 and 4 molecules of iodine, help regulate the production of the neurotransmitters, serotonin and dopamine. And those are essential for focus, mood, emotional regulation, motivation. When they're out of balance, it can disrupt these neurotransmitters. And then you've got the endocrine disruptors. These are the chemicals found in plastics, pesticides, even your personal care products, your lotion, your makeup, your hair stuff, your laundry detergent. they can all be linked to ADHD. These chemicals mess with how our hormones, like our thyroid hormones, function, which play a big role in our brain. And when kids are exposed to these disruptors, whether in utero or early in life, it can increase the risk of developing ADHD. So you really want to be aware of these phthalates, these BPAs in the plastic bottles, the microplastics found in salt, table salt. They can all cause ADHD symptoms to be worse, cognitive issues, brain fog, depression, everything. And estrogen dominance, low testosterone, so a whole bunch of other issues. Heavy metals. I was loaded in heavy metals when I first got my heavy metals test done. It was aluminum, lead, and mercury, off the charts. And lead, mercury, and arsenic have been shown to play a huge role in ADHD. They are found in contaminated water, air, some foods, and they can interfere with the brain development, especially in children. Exposure to these have been linked to issues with focus, impulsivity, hyperactivity, and it's everywhere. It's in our environment. And these have no calories, but they are part of our diet, right? So it's really important to take note of how we can minimize our exposure. It's really hard to get zero because we are living in a modern world where they're everywhere. They're even in supplements. That's why you got to know where your supplements are coming from and buy from reputable companies. And then also the brain structure and the function could be causing ADHD. It can be just the brain imaging studies have shown that people with ADHD have variations in the size and activity level of certain parts of their brain, especially in the areas of the prefrontal cortex. That's the area that's responsible for the executive functioning, like planning, attention, impulse control. You know, autism has the rates of autism have skyrocketed, and we know that. And there's this whole gray area from normal function to autism where the child is not quite autistic, but there's something going on with their executive function. That's because of all of these toxins, and this is being shown up on these brain scans. In ADHD, this area, the basal ganglia, which helps regulate movement and emotions, is affected. And that's leading to hyperactivity, difficult controlling emotional responses. It's not just the brain structure that matters, but how certain brain chemicals or the neurotransmitters like dopamine or norepinephrine are regulated, and these chemicals play a crucial role in focusing attention and regulating emotions. So, developmental risks. So there are issues occurring during those developmental years that can significantly increase the risk for ADHD, premature death. So babies born too early often have increased risk for developmental issues, including ADHD, low birth weight, also maternal substance use. So if the mom is using drugs, alcohol, or tobacco, really important to be clean and take care of that baby. It's not just about you when you're pregnant, guys. And that baby needs every bit of nutrients because we're not even getting what we need, let alone taking in this diet of toxins. So we have to be very careful when we're pregnant. I wish I knew all of this when I had my 3 babies, but I didn't. And that's what led to some of my kids' health issues. My son had leukemia at the age of 9. My one daughter had learning disabilities. My other daughter had asthma, allergies, and anemia. All of those things, I'm sure I could have negated them, at least to some extent, if I was better during my pregnant years. Stress during pregnancy, that is huge. It is so important for all of us to manage our stress, if not for just us, but for our babies and our children. Fluoride toxicity. Okay, I've been talking a lot about fluoride, and it's been in the news. It's in the water. Even the government is saying it's lowering children's IQ. Well, imagine that. Fluoride displaces iodine. We're in a world we don't have enough iodine. We've talked about iodine deficiency causing ADHD. Well, fluoride's kicking out the iodine. That's going to be linked to ADHD, and it has been. Fluoride in drinking water and dental products. We've got to get it out. Displace that toothpaste in your drawer with fluoride-free toothpaste. We need to get it out of our water. And it is the hardest molecule to get out of water with water filters. So even if you have a really good water filter, some fluoride's still coming through. So studies suggest that higher fluoride levels can mess with thyroid function, lower IQ, and those are tied to ADHD. Trouble focusing, the hyperactivity, the impulsiveness. So really, you got to pay attention to the fluoride. Remember, fluoride, bromide, chlorine, they're all in that halogen family with the iodine in that periodic table. So if you don't have enough iodine in your body, then those toxins are going to displace that iodine, fill those receptor sites, dumb down your brain, and cause major chronic disease throughout the body. And then some food additives. Okay, we're going to talk about processed foods. 70% of your child's diet is processed foods. You're drinking the juice boxes, you got the goldfish, you got the packaged foods, you got the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. All of those foods are filled with things that are not real food. The GMOs, the glyphosate, the inflammatory seed oils, they're inflaming the brain, not just the gut, and causing obesity and fatty liver in our children. They're inflaming the brain, the added sugars, the Skittles, the neurotoxins from the food dyes. Around Halloween, I always told my kids, I'd rather you have a Snickers than Skittles, because at least there's some fat in there and there's not as much neurotoxins. But these added sugars, these added ingredients are a time bomb. They're like cocaine putting into your child's brain, and then you're asking your child to sit still in class. It's your fault. Take control. And I'm being difficult right here because these children are only eating what you're giving them. Now, when they're teenagers, they've got more leeway as when they've got their pocket money and they're going to 7-Eleven. But they learn when they're young, and they don't even want to taste these foods if you've raised them on diets that are whole food. I'm not saying stay away from fruits and potatoes and healthy desserts. I'm not saying that. Stay away from the processed foods. These inflame the brain and the body, leading to hyperactivity, causing leaky gut. With leaky gut, the body's not assimilating the good nutrients that your body is taking in from the healthy foods. So say your child is having Skittles with wild animal protein, like I talk about, the body is not assimilating the nutrients from that wild animal protein if they're having the Skittles. So that leaky gut has been shown to cause mood disorders and focus issues. Most people are suffering from leaky gut. So the food additives like the artificial colorings, preservatives, they have been directly linked to hyperactivity in children, especially those who are already prone to ADHD symptoms. Now, sugar beyond the additives is another big factor. Now, eating fruit, totally fine. It's packaged with the fiber and the other nutrients. But when it is concentrated in those processed foods, it's worsening the hyperactivity. It's taking the blood sugar up. So they're bouncing off the walls, and 30 minutes later, they're like dead, and they're moody, and they're yelling at you, and they're kicking and screaming. If you want to make your job as a parent easier, cut out the processed foods. It'll make you look like an amazing parent, and you will actually see that your child may not have attention issues. It might just be diet and leaky gut. As I was saying, there's growing research in how the gut affects the brain. There's that brain-gut axis, and the gut-brain connection suggests that a poorly functioning gut, particularly one with imbalance in that healthy bacteria, can affect the brain's ability to regulate mood and focus. That's why some people with ADHD report improvements in their symptoms when they switch to that diet that's whole, unprocessed foods, and the spore biotics like the megaspore that I talk about, and using that leaky gut bundle. Next is chronic stress. Now, this is affecting everybody. It's affecting chronic disease across the board. but it really can amplify ADHD symptoms. I know when I have a ton of things on my plate, I literally look at my list of things and I can't do anything. I'm like paralyzed because of that stress. Your body releases cortisol, or hormone that disrupts brain function, and that's in that area that controls attention and impulse control. So for people with ADHD, this can lead to more frustration, forgetfulness, even anxiety. Poor sleep, like I said, last night I didn't sleep well. Today I'm having a hard time functioning a little more, and it makes it harder to focus. It makes my workouts worse. It makes everything worse. It makes my hunger and my blood sugar worse, all of those things. Sleep, sleep, sleep is so important for overall health. Childhood trauma can cause ADHD, so that's something to look into. And then, of course, genetics. If you have someone in your family with ADHD, then you have a higher risk of it. But all of the other things, the diet that I'm talking about, the diet of your food, water, your air, all of those things, the chemicals, that is what you're in control of. And that is what is causing most of that ADHD. So what do you do about it? Okay, we're going to talk about supplements first, because when you give a child or an adult supplements, you're giving them a foundation to say, okay, now I can focus. Now I can think with my higher brain, not with your reptilian brain, but with your higher brain. And that's then going to help you make better decisions about what you're going to eat, how you're going to sleep, how you're going to exercise, what activities you're going to do that are better for your ADHD. Number one is accelerated cogniblast. This supplement I've given to young people and to old people. And for the young ones, the report back is, oh my gosh, it is giving me the focus that I used to get from Ritalin without the side effects. And then for anxiety, I'm able to get off my anxiety medication that I've been on for over 20 years and have never tried to get off before. And depression. Oh my gosh, I'm getting off of my antidepressants. How is this so powerful? Well, accelerated cogniblast, we have combined traditional Ayurvedic herbs with advanced smart nutraceuticals and then enhanced with scalar frequencies to maximize brain performance within 30 minutes of a task, and then with cumulative effects for preventing Alzheimer's, dementia, and those things. It boosts the mood, helps you feel more positive. It enhances the focus. It increases your energy, your cellular energy, that ATP that we talk about, which is going to help in the gym and on your run. It reduces anxiety, increases that motivation, keeps you driven. And then, of course, it supports those long-term health, lowers your risk of Alzheimer's and dementia. It neutralizes the free radicals. So it protects your brain from the oxidative stress, which is what accelerates aging, reduces inflammation in the brain and the body. It improves circulation throughout the body. How can you have a brain that's functioning if there's no circulation getting to your brain? It also helps with your organs like your liver, kidneys, and lungs, and helps lower your stress. So our stress is not going to go away, but how we see our stress, that perceived stress, is what we're talking about. It's going to lower that perceived stress and help with your energy. The frequencies, the scalar frequencies that we add into the Cogniblast are designed to clear trauma, release that emotional and physical shock from the body, boost the memory, detoxify the glands that are part of what is the problem with ADHD. So it decalcifies the pineal, pituitary, and hypothalamus glands, and it balances the brain hemispheres. So it ensures that both sides of the brain are working together. We have included the magnesium BHB. So BHB, for those keto people out there, know that beta hydroxybutyrate is a clean burning fuel for the brain. And then we put in there centrophenoxine, which is an amazing ingredient that boosts memory, mood, and motivation while protecting the brain. DMAE, ginkgo biloba, which I know a lot of you have heard about, and then bacopa and ashwagandha. I love ashwagandha. It also helps with your thyroid and stress levels. American ginseng and the reishi mushrooms. Now, I want to talk about the mushrooms because a lot of mushroom supplements out there full of mold, and they're going to backfire. They're going to cause inflammation in your brain. We are so stringent on our mold and bacteria counts in all of our supplements. We only get them from the very best sources around the globe. It also includes lion's mane and cordyceps, frankincense, theacrine, and some others. So that is number one, the accelerated cognoblast. Second is the accelerated iodine. Now, most of you, 96 or more % of the United States is deficient in iodine, and that is going to help with your thyroid health, clear the fluoride out of your brain, and it's going to help with the ADHD symptoms, increase that IQ, and those low levels of iodine are going to lead to that inactive thyroid. So we're going to optimize our thyroid, optimize our fat burning, optimize our energy burning. It also increases ATP significantly, is the quickest way to increase your ATP in your brain and your body. And mitochondrial failure, now remember, your health is only as good as the health of your mitochondria and your cells. Well, mitochondrial failure, the number one cause is iodine deficiency. So that is the number one way to lift it up. Not all iodines are the same. Accelerated iodine is the only iodine that is I-, one molecule of iodine suspended in alcohol, which means that it is going to absorb in all the cells of your body, and it's in the form that can absorb in all of the cells in your body. Most iodines are in a diatomic form, potassium iodide, sodium iodide, and your body's got to break apart the molecules to use the iodine, and you only get about 10 to 20% absorption, and the iodine might be full of toxins coming from the Asias where it's been exposed to Fukushima and the radioactivity. So that is where the accelerated iodine comes in. Of course, it's enhanced with scalar frequencies too. So the number 3, so there's 3 major brain boosters, and these are my go-tos. Accelerated methylene blue. Methylene blue's been in the news a lot. Dr. Mercola put out an article on it. So many benefits, not just for your brain, but for your immune system, right? But it supports brain function, boosts the cognitive performance. It's a powerful antioxidant. It protects the brain. It reduces that oxidative stress, and that can improve focus and clarity. I take this daily. I like to separate my methylene blue from my cognoblast to kind of get that bang of each buck, right? It increases ATP. It's been shown to improve memory and even mood by increasing serotonin levels. Now, accelerated methylene blue is unlike any other. We use it, we perform the water, or I should say we manufacture it with John Ellis distilled water. And what does that mean? That water on its own kills pathogens away from the methylene blue and boosts the immune system. And then we put it through the grander water system, which revitalizes the water, improves the structure, restores the water's natural energy. So with the accelerated methylene blue, you're going to have antidepressant effects, improved blood flow. It helps with brain injuries. It has antimicrobial effects. It boosts the mitochondrial function, increases ATP, all of the good stuff. Now, you can also add in the accelerated thyroid because most of you are running around with suboptimal thyroid function. And from the pandemic, it's made things even worse. I was talking to a family member and said, you know, you are hypothyroidism, or have hypothyroid, and her blood test looks normal because they only test the TSH and the T4. But her voice is weak. She's got the brain fog. She can't, the focus isn't there, especially in the afternoon. Well, accelerated thyroid works with the accelerated iodine for your optimal thyroid function. That's going to also help with your PMS symptoms and your menopausal symptoms and your unexplained weight gain because your thyroid is the master endocrine gland. what we've done with the accelerated thyroid is we have blended traditional wisdom with modern science. We've got the grass-fed thyroid glandular with the conchinara, which is an Ayurvedic herb, then essential amino acids and the tyrosine, and then of course enhance it with the scalar frequencies to help restore the thyroid to its original optimal state, right? So that will also help with your focus in your ADHD. Now, stabilizing your blood sugar. That blood sugar from the sugar that you're eating is taking you on a roller coaster, right? So where the accelerated fast comes in, it stabilizes the blood sugar, feeds the brain those ketones, the BHB, that have been shown to help ADHD significantly. That's why a lot of people will go on ketogenic diets or start intermittent fasting for the brain power. It really gives you that clean energy brain, but you don't want to always intermittent fast. Too much of a good thing is not a good thing. So the accelerated fast gives you that fuel to the brain. It helps you fast for a few extra hours, but then you focus on the wild animal protein in the diet that we're going to talk about in a minute, and you're able to do so with control, without the cravings for the sugar, and you're stabilizing your blood sugar. It gives your body the ability to produce the neurotransmitters like GABA, dopamine, and serotonin. Accelerated fast also helps cleanse the liver on a daily basis, increases that ATP, and you will see a difference in your energy. So those are the supplements. Now, as we're starting to feel better on the supplements, here are the lifestyle changes you need to make. Number one, get rid of the sugar and the processed foods. You gotta cut them out. Anything that's in a package, even if it is a low carb, organic, ketogenic protein bar, could have those seed oils in it. It could have organic canola oil in it. Those things inflame the brain. You have to be very careful. That gut inflammation is going to also inflame the brain, cause leaky gut, insulin resistance, attention issues, anxiety, depression. Your child cannot sit still if they are fueled on sugar. So cut those foods out. You want to eat that wild animal protein. It's the most nutrient dense food out there. Bison, elk, lamb, venison, wild fish. Those proteins are rich, and they're helping your hormone balance, your strong metabolism. They don't have the inflammatory fats or the amyloid proteins that mess with your gut. The amyloid proteins are in the chicken, the poultry, the pork, conventionally raised beef. That has been worsened because of the pandemic. I talk about all of this in my group coaching and on the website. Just search amyloids. You'll understand why when you read the articles and watch the podcast on them. But these amyloid proteins are very inflammatory. The body can't break them down and use them. It's not the same chicken as we were eating 10 years ago. Then you want to focus on vegetables and fruits that don't have oxalates, sulfur, and mold. So some veggies contain plant toxins like these oxalates or excess sulfur and lead to slow cognition, attention issues, joint pain, even brain fog. So in my accelerated food guide, I list out very clearly what foods to focus on and which ones to stay away. You can find the accelerated food guide on the website. You can use the intermittent fasting, just like I mentioned with the accelerated fast. Use that and then intermittent fast, and you will see a difference in your gut. Your gut will have time to heal. You will also see a difference in your cravings for the sugar. Your brain is going to listen, actually wake up and be more focused and clean, and you'll feel better. And you got to sleep. Like I said, I didn't sleep well last night. I ate too close to bedtime. My sugars and my sleep were just all out of whack. Not performing my best today. Not going to lie. That quality sleep is a game changer. That is the cornerstone of all of your health issues. Make time to exercise. Exercise is the only way to boost that brain-derived neurotropic factor connected to help alleviate depression. And it is the one way every morning that I get my day straight. I get my mind in the right position, and it increases that circulation. It really helps with the blood sugar, keeps you stable, and you feel good in your brain and body. So bottom line, ADHD, multi-causes, but some big ones are your diet. Get rid of the processed foods, get rid of the heavy metals and the toxins, start going through your home care products, your makeup, your hair care, your dish soap, all of those things. And focus on that wild animal protein. Start taking the supplements, the accelerated iodine, the accelerated methylene blue, the accelerated cognoblast. Those are the 3 top ones. And then you might need the accelerated thyroid. Accelerated fast will also help as well. And you can use the accelerated leaky gut bundle if you're still finding that your gut might be part of the issue. So there are tools, and you don't have to race out for that medication that's going to backfire, cause leaky gut, and take you down a wrong rabbit hole. So thanks for listening. Our discussion does not have to stop here. If you're feeling lost in the supplement world, no worries, I'm here to help. I know it can be confusing. You can start by getting your free supplement protocol that I personally put together just for you. Follow me on social media at Accelerated Health Products and join the free health group coaching. There is no downside. I keep you engaged and moving forward. I answer your questions, post insights, and it's a great community. The link is at SaraBantaHealth.com, and find this podcast as Accelerated Health with Sara Banta on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, E360, iHeart, and over 100 different platforms. Share this podcast with your friends. My goodness, every child, it seems, is suffering at some level mentally. ADHD, anxiety, depression. And the things that we talked about address all of those things. And you might have an elderly parent that is on the verge of Alzheimer's or dementia or just brain fog. Or you might be suffering from that menopausal brain fog. We all need this information. So please share this episode with anyone in your family or friend group that might need this info. And you can use coupon podcast10 on the website to get 10% off your first order. Remember, I'm live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so join me next time for more ways to unlock your health potential.